Hi, my name is Adam Burnett. I'm an actor, filmmaker. I consent to this information, video, and question and answer period being used for Sarper's project. It has been very useful, especially just the event, Facebook event platform. You know, being able to invite people to that and have it be shared and propagate further and further. But having said that, probably the most effective thing that gets people to come to this event is word of mouth. You know, getting an event notification on your Facebook will only get you so far. If people don't recognize the name of the event or the people that are hosting it or have heard about it from somebody else, they're likely not going to pay attention to it. So word of mouth is just as important, getting people to actually talk about it and invite people in person, not just press invite on Facebook. People were used to seeing that invitation coming from me, and they were so used to it that they would see it and then they'd forget about it immediately. But when the invitation to this event that they've heard about through other people came from a close friend, somebody that they had a more personal connection with, they paid attention and it propagated further. Oh. There were more invites to that event than I could possibly have invited myself. I would think that the reason why social media platforms have become more predominant, as you said, in exchange of information rather than just a business card with a phone number or an email address, is because it lends to the idea of, if you connect to someone on Facebook, you stand a better chance of reaching their network, their extended network, as opposed to just that one person. Because if you call them on the phone and you tell them about an event, a screening or a networking event or any such thing, and expect or ask them to share it to their network, there's a lot of steps in between them saying yes and actually doing it. Whereas if you ask them that same question via Facebook chat or something like that, with the link immediately available to them, it just makes saying yes and following through a lot easier. They can immediately click on that link, they can immediately invite their friends. So there's less steps. So the idea of connecting with someone that you meet at a networking event and giving them your Facebook handle or your Twitter handle or something like that, you stand a better chance of your ideas, your films, your networking events propagating further and reaching further networks that you previously had no exposure or access to. So there's two parts to this. There's how does these advancements in technology and social media help in getting a film made? A lot. It's invaluable. You know, putting out a casting call, putting out a crew call, asking questions about trying to find equipment, getting stuff donated. You know, doing a social media, what's the word? Like all of that has been greatly affected by the social media platforms. Just in getting your film made and getting like-minded people to be working on your film and know about your film. But the other side of it is not just getting it made, but getting it seen. And people now are designing their projects under the filter and the light of, how will this play on social media? What's the hook that we'll have to get people to donate it to our crowdfunding campaign, to get people to come to our screenings, to, you know, what's not just the audience in a theater anymore, it's the audience online. And all of that is being taken into account now when you're even in the conception of what kind of story you want to tell. Over the last decade, it has changed significantly in the way that it used to function and how much it helped the filmmakers. I know that when I started this filmmaking community, which used to be called Indie Filmmaking Montreal, IFM, the Facebook page used to function in a very different way. Every single person who liked your page, when you put out a post, it would be seen by them. It would show up in their newsfeed. And then overnight, maybe 6 years ago, Facebook changed the design and decided that only a portion of the people who liked your page would see that.
That's interesting.
And for the rest of it, you had to pay. The way Facebook's designed right now, the way it's working and the way it's propagating information is not helpful to people starting out, to new filmmakers. It takes a lot more work to build an audience. It's a lot harder to break into, it's a lot harder to break into it now. It's a lot harder to break into the Facebook community and get a certain post seen or get people to come to an event because it doesn't automatically share as well as it used to. So you need to put a lot more work into actually asking people to share your events, share your posts. The necessity to have a web presence has never been greater. It's hugely helpful as any kind of filmmaker. If you're an actor, a cinematographer, a director, when you are looking for people to work with and to collaborate with, it's essential to do your research. You have to look them up on Google and see if they have, not just to see if they have a web presence, but the fact that they have a web presence gives you more information on the type of work that they like to do, the quality of work that they like to do, the tone of work, whether or not you feel like they tell the same kind of stories that you tell. So it's in your best interest as a filmmaker to have an online presence and to also tailor and filter what's up there. I think that there's something to be said for both schools of thought. I don't think that either one is so perfect that they can survive on their own. They both have their pros and cons, and I think that a merger of the two and the ability to jump back and forth and just the flexibility to jump back and forth between those two worlds is beneficial to all filmmakers, whether they're old school or new school. To discount either one of those avenues is shooting yourself in the foot. You know, purely relying on social media is just as a bad idea as purely relying on face-to-face and word of mouth. You should take every advantage and every opportunity that you can on every different facet of getting your work out there, and don't limit yourself. You know, so anybody who's stubborn or stringent and doesn't want to open themselves up to a new way of communication or look back from a new way to the old way and see what worked back then is doing themselves a disservice, because there's a middle ground. There's something to be said for being versatile.